Welcome to the Marketing Summarize video series where we talk about marketing, business, and everything that makes your working life better. Our next guest has been a formidable force in the SEO and digital marketing industry in the last 5 years. He's very good at finding efficiencies within a business so you can save money and use those dollars to fund your business's marketing and sales, which means you can grow your business, right? He's worked with brands such as ChargeBar, Crucial Australia, Elevate 360, and online marketing gurus. Our next guest is the founder of Technical Content Links, an agency that grows other digital agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mr. Harry James. How are you, mate? How's it going?
I'm good, Crom. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah. How about you? Been busy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very busy. Very busy. I had a meeting today at 7 a.m.
Wow. So, is that in
yeah,
Sydney or for overseas or?
It was in Sydney with people in the US and Turkey.
Wow.
Yeah, working on some fun stuff for a client.
Wow, Turkey. That's pretty insane. So,
yeah.
So you're based in Sydney, right?
Yep.
Last time we spoke, Glencoe, around that area.
Yeah, Lenco, still Lenco. Yeah.
Nice. Can you tell us or tell our viewers what does Technical Content Links do, and how did you come up with the idea?
Yeah, sure. So Technical Content Links is an agency for agencies. So we work with agencies on unlocking working capital to help them grow and scale their operations. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of agencies out there. I think there's something like 5,000 plus digital agencies running in Australia. Yeah. And there's different timelines of those agencies and where they sit, comparatively to others. So you've got your large network agencies, which are creative agencies and programmatic agencies. And then there's a large community of performance marketing agencies, social media marketing agencies, search agencies. Those agencies have been around for 6 years or 2 years or 3 years. And if they want to take things to the next level or get to the next step or just solve problems that come about by running agencies, we're here to help. So we do that through consultation with agency owners to understand what they want to achieve in the next 5 years, what their plan is. Do they want to get big? Do they want to sell?
5 years. That's a hard one.
yeah. Or next year, right?
Yeah.
And then we can help provide services to help them get there, which could be streamlining operations. It could be a new project management tool. It could be a new CRM. It could be that they've got full-time staff and they might just need contractors or vice versa. So we can help with all that. We've got a big network of other agencies as well, so we can connect people to help build partnerships and to help grow agencies to reach their goals.
So you kind of organize, make an agency efficient, so whatever money that you save, they can use again. Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean,
that's probably oversimplifying what you just said.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of agencies who get to a point and they don't know what to do, so they'll just hire more people.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
Right, so it's like, I've got a problem, I'll solve it with hiring someone. When you do that, you can get some diamonds in the rough who will fix and improve things. But a lot of people will just show up and do the job that they're there to do. But if you take a macro look at it, you might be able to build something or create something which streamlines things. And that might unlock capital to put into marketing, where you can invest more into those channels to help grow the business.
And marketing, and I'm a marketer at heart, and that's my trade as far as I'm concerned. Marketing works. I've met digital agency owners that their strategy to grow is to sell more, right? Which is great, but the scale on that one is more a plateau rather than a growth. You know what I mean? By releasing these dollars and these funding, you can actually help them market better, and also when they get customers, they can serve the customers better. What did you say?
Yeah, like you would know as well as I do. If you ask any client why they're not doing marketing, can't find the money for it.
Yeah.
If you can help them find the money for it, it just unlocks things and it makes things so much simpler for them as a business. Their stresses and worries start to go away. They start to think clearer. the marketing starts to kick in and work, the leads come in. Okay, then the next problem is we need another sales guy. Like that's a great problem to have.
Yeah, that's a good problem.
You know, trying to find more salespeople, that's a good problem to have in a business.
Yeah.
If you're worrying about, you know, fulfillment and if that work's getting done, or have we briefed that thing in, that's a bad problem. The good problems are the fun ones. You know, how do we find more staff? How do we get more people to do, you know, to service more clients? How do we improve our customer service? How do we, you know, sharpen the parts of the process that you never thought you'd get to?
You do SEO. I mean, I know a lot of SEOs, and you're one of them, right?
Yeah.
From your point of view, because SEO is, I would probably say, the second oldest of the pillars of digital marketing. The first one being email marketing, right? Can you tell us how SEO looks like in, let's say, in the next 12 months? How does that look like for you?
It's look, it's an ever-changing landscape.
Yes, it is.
And there are changes which are rolling out day by day. I think there's a change coming up which is going to focus on page speed, and that is now, it's been toyed around with, but there's an article that's come out from John at Google saying we're now going to look at these 3 key metrics, and you'll get an increase in how the algorithms favor you. He's not going to say an increase in rankings, but how you're going to get looked at if your page is faster. So lighter, faster pages which serve content which answers a question is SEO in a nutshell, but it's also finding the right content which answers queries. So the way in which we optimize for content, the way in which we build things out, technical content links, right? All those three pillars are very important. But for a long time, links was the biggest thing.
Yes.
Everyone's building links. That's why you've got all these things, all these agencies out there who just do link building.
Just do links. Yeah.
Content in the last 2 years has become more and more and more important, and the way in which we were looking at links as a link velocity and link graphs and who's building how many links, you're looking at the same thing with content now, and there's more content applications coming out. Surfer SEO is a really good example of that. It's, you know, taking the world by storm. Rank Math as a plugin in WordPress and a tool is now, you know, up there with the things everyone talks about. So content's getting to that point where it's about how much content you create, the length of that content, the keywords in that content. It's being viewed as more and more important. So I think that trend's going to continue.
Yep.
I think there's going to be less of a reliance on links.
Finally, yeah. I was speaking to someone last year, very good SEO, and he said that it's more content and intent and less on links, because I heard that Google has just pretty much given up on the links part, because some, I mean, please don't do this at home if you're listening to this. Some competitors will aim a backlink, a bad link and a competitor as a standard practice. And Google cannot differentiate a good link versus a bad link. Is it?
They can differentiate, but there's people who are far more sophisticated at doing SEO than some others, and that's where it gets a bit cloudy. There's tools which can help you with all that sort of stuff. Google will generally see, links which are on every website which everyone's got, and it gives them less weight or significance. Things like negative SEO attacks, they're getting pretty good at it, but if you're doing the wrong thing yourself, that's where you'll get tripped up. So if you're doing the wrong thing as a business owner or an SEO, you'll get found out quicker. There is talk about the link graph and the link index being deconstructed, and it's all about unlinked citations and branding messages. Those things are important. We'll just have to wait and see to see how much weight is put onto links in the future.
How do you improve the intent part of SEO? I mean, you talked about content, yeah. How do you make that really obvious and very strong in the content part?
It's all about structure. It's all about understanding the purpose of the search query, and then matching that query and answering it as best as possible.
Can you give us an example, so for the people that are watching or listening to this one, they can learn something?
Yeah, so there's different sorts of queries, right? If you type in a very broad topic such as organizational development, okay, that's
broad.
That's what I've been working on, right? So if you type in organizational development, type that into Google, you'll get a wiki page on what is organizational development, right? But if you're looking for an organizational development consultant in Sydney, your query is going to be different. So that more refined query, which will hit the bottom of the funnel, will bring up a different sort of page. So when these algorithms get rolled out, that's what changes. It's the intent of that query matching it to a page. And Google's whole thing and being in as well is about finding the query that matches the page and serving up the best result. It's that simple, right? So it's matching that longer query, which has probably got more intent, to the right page, which serves up the right result.
Nice. Okay. So whoever wants to do that, guys, whoever's listening and watching this, that's how you do it. Let's chat about, we talked about the possibility of what's going to happen in SEO in the next 12 months, right? The reason I called you last week is I wanted to chat to you about that, right? We ended up discussing an elephant in a big Australian room. How do you feel about the square off between the Australian government and Google at the moment? What do you think about that, man?
Honestly, it's scary, right? So for someone who's worked in the industry for more than 5 years and to see what could happen, based on this, and like we've just had a rough year.
We did.
Right, we've been like I've been at home since March. Pretty much, and it was a really tough time for agency owners and small businesses in Australia, right? So then off the back of that, we were recovering, and a lot of businesses are booming, and e-commerce is growing like crazy, and marketing, as a service is growing like crazy. To see governments try to put through, a media bargaining code, which they're talking about a whole range of issues within this code that don't actually have any effect on the code. It's quite scary. For me as someone who runs an agency and works with other agencies who provide services which use these mediums, it's a bit scary, and it's tough for people to understand what the correct information is that's coming out. There's a lot of articles being posted by the journalists, by the publishers,
correct,
and it feels like people are drinking the Kool-Aid. and they're rallying against something which they don't understand. They're confusing issues, and it's hard to get cut through to make people understand what the actual goal of what they're trying to achieve are, and how some of these things can be counterintuitive to that.
Okay, let's give for those who don't know what's going on.
The way they're framing it is that they're saying that we want Google to pay for the content that the publishers are providing.
Yeah.
Right, which is, again, it's not how it works. So that's the way they're framing it. What they're basically saying is publishers are creating content, Google are profiting from that content, therefore you should pay to profit from that content. I'm very confused. I think I know search. I think I know search pretty well. I think I know how all these things work, and I cannot understand that. I use my phone. There's the Google loader on the phone, and it's got a Google tab on it, right? I can click on that. It shows all these news articles from publishers around the world. I don't see one ad.
Google Australia's MD, Managing Director, Mel Silva, used an analogy. It's like somebody asks you, your mate asks you, hey, where can I get good coffee here, right? And then you go to your mate, hey, yeah, it's just down the road, over that corner over there. And your mate goes there, has a coffee, you know what I mean? Then a week later, you get a bill from that cafe for recommending them. I mean, that's the analogy. And I think that's pretty insane. If the news media people wants to be paid for their articles, right? Can Google just remove all the links and don't show them? Because after all, it's a website.
Well, yeah. So Google's a privately run company, right? Like they can pretty much pick and choose what pages they want to show. But then that would be the opposite of why they're in business. They're there to collect all the pages and serve up the most relevant result. Like if we didn't have search engines, you would have other forms of advertising which would say, use this page for this sort of content. And that's what's happening with a lot of sites these days. Like in America, or for what I'm told, in the US, rather than going to Google, they'll go to Amazon, and then they'll search for their queries in Amazon. So Amazon's become a search engine, but they do the fulfillment side of that as well.
So
you'll just Amazon it, apparently.
Oh,
right?
We can Amazon it?
Yeah, right. So think about that. So the search engines give you the ability to type in the query and then see what's out there, and then you click on that and go from there. There are paid ads, right? Which run at the very top, and that's people who want to promote their goods and services to people with a much more purchasing intent. But like you can Wikipedia things, You can
Yeah.
just go to Wiki and you can type something in and off you go. You can use their search function to find what you want to find. News make money off ads, right? They collect your data, right? They use Google systems. They use their publisher platforms.
Yeah.
You can do a media buy on Sydney Morning Herald and you can have the whole page there if you want. And they'll collect your data and they'll use that in their marketing. They'll share that third-party data with other platforms. So if you really want to get into things like programmatic buys, you can buy data off domain. Right? Now, people saying, oh, Google's got everyone's data. Well, so do Domain. So does Sydney Morning Herald.
Yes, correct.
So do these publishers. So
and they probably had it for 2 decades, 3 decades.
Yeah, they've been collecting
They know
data.
everybody's TV habits, for example. What they watch, when they watch, and who's clicking. How many. They can't tell who, but they'll say, oh, at this time 4 million viewers saw this. You know what I mean? So that's true as well.
So people have been collecting data, and Google have a really good way of collecting data. You as an owner of a business, put a snippet on your page. If you don't put it on there, Google won't collect it. But then you start collecting data about your users so you can market to them better, right? That's how it works. And you can get access to the data of people and promote goods and services. So the publishers make money.
Yeah.
They make money off people buying advertising space. They make money off digital subscriptions.
They're probably also making money for the ads being shown at their website, because via so somebody searches, people click on the link, they go to the website. Like, I'll give you an example, news.com.au. Man, there's always ads there. You know what I mean? So they're making money there.
And Google have even said that they'll put money towards journalists and publishers. They'll commit $1 billion to this. They'll create a specialized part of Google called a news showcase, which is what they rolled out in France and in other countries of the world. To confuse these issues with Google should pay more tax, well, sure, they probably should pay more tax. Like, I feel like I used to pay a lot of tax, right? Like, as an Australian worker, like, I feel I get taxed a lot. And if they're not paying enough tax, well, that's a separate issue.
That's separate. That's not the media code that we're talking about. Yeah.
Correct. And people need to understand that those two issues are very different. So just trying to like force a search engine to do something because you're upset with them, it's not going to get us the right result, and it's going to hurt a lot of businesses. The fear of this might impact people's want or need to invest into marketing.
Yeah.
Digital is here because it's a cheap way of marketing. Anyone can do it. You don't need to know how to do a media buy. You don't need to know a guy that sells billboards or how to put you on buses or taxi backs. Like, you don't need to spend $400,000 with a creative agency. Like, anyone can do it, and anyone can get access to customers that want to purchase. So it's scary. It's scary for small business, and it could have a significant impact. There was an article this morning, and the publishers are putting out a lot of articles. Microsoft have said they'll put their hand up and fill the gap. Well, Microsoft's been there with Bing for a long time.
Yeah.
Go use it if you want. Like, that's fine. But the reason why a lot of us don't optimize for Bing is the search results weren't as good and the market share is not there. And their platforms aren't as good for advertising.
Yeah.
We go to where the best product is and where the most users are.
Yeah.
So, if Bing step up, that's great. But it probably shouldn't get this far for everyone involved.
Absolutely. I even heard that the Australian government, I don't know if it's true, I think this is a rumor, but I'm going to say it anyway because I heard it, that they will, the government with other media group will start their own search engine. I don't know if I'm comfortable with the government being a search engine. I don't know if I'm more comfortable there or Google. I don't know.
Look, it depends where you sit, right? Like, if you look at privately owned infrastructure and private enterprise and how they're doing more innovation than governments.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, Elon Musk wants to take us to Mars. Like, he's pioneering electric cars. Where's the government helping with that? Like,
Yeah.
they're not. They're helping keep petrol going because of things. And do we have anyone that makes Australian cars anymore?
I don't think so.
Like, did anyone else enter the market when Holden just produced its last car?
Yeah, true.
Where do we're importing cars from here, there, and everywhere now. So, if you want to protect Australian workers and keep us going, well, I'd love the government to do more initiatives like that.
Yeah.
Are they going to do it well?
I was speaking to a friend of mine, a contact of mine over the weekend about this topic as well, because it's a hotly debated topic, especially in our industry. And he worked with the old media companies. He was a consultant with them, like Channel 9, Channel 10, Channel 7. And all those media companies, yeah, are backing up ACCC and government on this policy. Having said that, it looks like they're just saving their industry. You know what I mean? And on the other side, the digital guys like us are trying to save, or are in the Google side, because, well, firstly, it's number one, it's the future. Most people are on their phones and on the internet. And I can't even remember last time I just sat there and watched free-to-air TV. So I think it's more effective. But we too are trying to, I guess, save our jobs. You know what I mean? So from that point of view, I think there's two camps there that are forgetting. How about the users? You know, like, because has anybody asked them? You know what I mean? Like, has anybody asked them which would you like this? Would you like that? Would you like that when you Google something, you click on a link and the first thing you see is an ad? You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. I mean, even to the point where I think Apple is, I see this in Facebook a lot. I see an iOS 14 update, which means a person or an iPhone owner or Apple product owner has an option now to remove all ads, right? So this is only the beginning, you know what I mean, of what's going to happen. So I think the problem there is no one has asked the users, and we have two distinct users here. I would say the older generation would still be using TV and radio, for example, and the younger generations, and I'm talking about, I don't know, people like me and younger. I'm in my 40s, in case you're wondering. We don't even watch free-to-air TV anymore. I got Netflix, I got YouTube, I got my computer, and I only play what media I want to play, and don't have to sit and get the ads. And I think it's a big, we're in a crossroad where old media versus new media is happening here, which is really sad because the government is in it, right? And and wants to protect the old way. I wonder if the government, passed the law saying that, hey, this is the turn of the last century. Hey, we should protect the blacksmith. They need to make knives for everybody. I wonder if they had a law saying, okay, factory workers, you can't make knives. You know what I mean? Because the blacksmiths will be out of job. You know what I mean? So because currently no one's really asking the users, and maybe it's time for the old media to literally just open up and go, hey man, your subscriber model where people buy a newspaper or subscribe to this, maybe you need to really think about that. You know what I mean? Because I don't know about you. When was the last time you bought a newspaper, man?
I don't personally, but my father still gets his paper delivered every day, right? He loves doing his crosswords sitting on the balcony. But the interesting thing is, with this code, the ABC and the SBS aren't included.
Yeah, why is that?
Right? So
is it because they're non-commercial or something like that?
Look, to be honest, it's like most Australians would trust the ABC over a Murdoch or a Packer run newspaper. I think I saw something crazy about the amount of papers that are owned in Queensland, specifically by, one of these media behemoths. Like, how do you know you're getting actual journalistic, unbiased commentary? There was an article which was posted on Sydney Morning Herald, and it was written by a former Fairfax CEO, but it was presented as fact when it's opinion. Now, how scary is that? People will read that thing, read just these, inflammatory statements which are coming out. And if you look at it, it's, ex Fairfax CEO who was an editor-in-chief. And it's like, these are the power that these publications have. There's an independent publisher which is signed up for the Google's proposed news showcase, right? Which is like, they are who they are, but there are people who want to get involved in this. There are certain criteria of the publishers who will be allowed to get the benefits of this code, and most of them don't qualify if they're a small independent publisher. You want to talk about a media behemoth which is out of control and dictating things to a government. I mean,
That's
how
like a
does
fox.
this? Well, I mean, is it the pot calling the kettle black here? Like,
Mm,
you know, if people are that upset by these corporations, well, they should look at what these corporations are trying to do, you know, to small business and small business publishers, which there's a
yeah.
lot of.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you know, journalism's hard to make money from. Like, it's hard to make money from. They need an audience of people, right?
Yeah.
It's why they're trying digital subscriptions. It's why you can get it. You get 5 free articles on Sydney Morning Herald, and then you've got to pay for a subscription, right? You know, it's why they've got ads everywhere. It's why they're trying to create content which brings in users. And if they've fallen behind on an advertising model, well, they need to innovate and try something better.
I think this media code is to protect that model, because our digital space where we work in, I don't know about you, but we're growing. And I'm hearing the old media companies, the TVs, the newspapers, the magazines are closing. You know what I mean?
They're starting agencies.
So they're starting agencies. There you go.
So News Corp have an agency.
Wow.
So now they're going to get access to algorithm changes before everyone else to service their clients.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a monopoly? You want to talk about issues with some people knowing, like, they're getting told the 11 herbs and spices. You know.
Yeah.
And then we have to, you know,
we have to figure it out.
We have to figure it out. But they're going to have a jump on the game. Like, so they're going to be told how to optimize things before other agencies get told that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's you know, people need to understand how all this stuff works. It's complicated. It's confusing. But they need to see both sides of this story to make a judgment on it.
Make a judgment. Don't just jump and go Google's. You know, Google is Google. I remember the days before Google came in where I had to memorize a domain, you know, and type that in. And yes, I was alive in those days. You know what I mean? And also, you needed your friend to tell you about a website. You can't just search it. You know what I mean? You know, you have to tell your mate, hey, check out this website. It's www. blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And you have to write it somewhere before Google came in and you can just type, you know. Having said that, let's say Google, you know, let's say Google left Australia. How does that look like? I mean, I can give you an example that what I'm gonna miss Google Maps, because I don't even own a GPS system. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. So the thing, the conversation and the comment was Google search will need to be removed. Now, does that mean Google pull all their operations out of Australia? Don't know, right? So if they want to, they can click a button, turn off search in Australia. So if you went to google.com, it would say search is not available. Sorry, google.com.au. So, okay, you immediately think, okay, well, then another player is going to come in, another person is going to do this. No, there's going to be a Chrome extension, which is change your IP, use google.com. Like, you'll just find a workaround. And then so what happens to all those Australian companies, the Australian domain names which have been optimized on that platform?
Yeah,
they're going to have to compete with
the
index of the .coms.
Yeah.
So how are you going to do that, right?
So guys, in what Harry just meant there, if you have a .com.au, you're going to be competing with .coms now, because that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be, you know, a re-optimization strategy, which is probably going to go on. Like, yes, Bing might get some more market share, but people are just going to figure out a way to use what they want. You know, whenever they try to do something like this, people find a way. Like, look at the Pirate Bay. That thing's still running. It's still running. If when people are committed to do things, they'll figure out how to serve the content they want and allow people to find it. Right? I think Pirate Bay talking about putting things in space to serve the website just to prove a point. Right? So people will find a way. So there'll be extensions to subvert this. Or, you know, Bing might come up as a new player, and then it's the same problem again.
Yeah.
You know, like, the same problem will occur.
They'll hit Bing now. Yeah.
It doesn't solve the problem. You know, you'll have people who suffer. Small businesses will suffer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope, because I like Google Maps, I threw away my maybe Navman will get some extra business again. You know, they can start selling GPS machines again. I mean, we got our phones, we got Facebook Maps. Somebody said that to me, and I'm thinking, how about YouTube? Would that go away as well?
YouTube's not affected by this,
You
and
don't, it's
that's
not? Okay.
no, and it's interesting. It's the second biggest search platform.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can just YouTube it. Like if you've got kids, they're on YouTube all the time, right?
Yeah.
So they're not going to be affected by it. Hopefully, it gets resolved before it gets there.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a way to go. They're trying both. I think from what I understand, from what I see, Google is trying hard to come to some agreement.
Yeah.
But the way in which the government are approaching it doesn't look like they want to resolve it.
Yeah. I mean, the Prime Minister said that, we don't get intimidated by threats. What?
Yeah.
And then the treasurer said that, don't leave, just pay the media, which is a fair comment to say. And Google can turn around, it's like, fine, what if we don't want to pay you, we just won't index you. I mean, it can get nasty.
If news really want to back themselves as the platform,
Yeah.
put a no index tag on your website. Tell Google not to index you. Play that game, right?
Yeah.
Facebook have said, sure, we just won't show news content on our platform. They can do that. Like it's not a government asset.
Yeah.
They can just say, fine, we're not going to show you, and that's that is what it is.
Yeah, and it's not censorship, because somebody said that to me the other day. It's like, oh, that I was speaking to an American, so they said, oh, that interacts with the First Amendment, and I went, have you read the First Amendment? It says the Congress or the government cannot censor or create laws to censor people, but a business can.
Yeah.
Exactly. An organization can. It's not the government. You know what I mean?
What's the old thing? No shirt, no shoes, no service. Like
exactly right. You got to. By the way, for Americans or non-Australians, you can't go into RSL clubs if you don't have a shirt on, or if you're not wearing shoes, for example. That's very Australian, by the way, which is a fair call. You know what I mean? So anyway, thank you for all of that. I mean, I think next time we'll have a conversation is I'll bring you in for a conversation what will happen with the iOS 14 update that is happening in Apple products. And that involves banning ads. How does that look like? Even Facebook is saying that there'll be a drop of about 40% in revenue if it's not done properly. So Facebook will drop 40% revenue. How does that look like as far as social media advertising is concerned?
That's scary.
That is scary. So that's why you got two big things happening. Google and the media code happening. This is what's happening. And also on the other side is Apple products versus Facebook.
There's the other thing as well. Are Facebook and Google publishers? There's been talk on Sky News about, well, apparently Facebook are contacting posters and journalists and saying the topic of your post is incorrect. You need to change that. Now, by definition, they are editorializing content on a platform. So now, is Facebook a publisher because they're doing that? And do they need to be held now to Australian publishing laws? It's getting very murky, and there's a lot going on. And it's like, that's why Google's very much saying we're not a publisher, because they don't editorialize content on their platform. You're not allowed to, right? But if Facebook start doing that, are they crossing the line? Twitter, they're banning users, right? They're putting up certain notifications on things. Like the platforms, when they do start to get into that, they're not aggregators, and content that's user generated is being editorialized. That's when things start to get a bit iffy.
Yeah.
That's when it gets very scary.
And I think that could be the next topic in our conversation then. So Harry, we have a segment where we ask our guests, or the first time they visit anyway, some rapid fire questions. Just for a little bit of fun. Are you ready for this, mate? Okay. And let's get started. If you could live anywhere, where would it be?
I would live on a farm somewhere 6 hours north and just get away from all this stuff.
Living a farm.
Yeah.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Depends what day of the week it is.
Let's say Monday to Friday. Is there Monday to Friday?
I'm a night owl at the moment.
I'm a night owl as well, mostly. Yeah. I sleep 5 hours a day. What motivates you to work hard, mate?
Seeing the time, effort, and energy I put into other ventures and understanding all of that, which has got me to a certain point where I can do it myself and help other businesses. That motivates me a lot.
What is your favorite book that you've read?
Favorite book that I've read.
Mm.
You know what? It's non-fiction, but
Yep.
Stephen King's It. That's a scary book.
That is a scary book. Yes. Yeah. What's a new hobby that you have picked up during lockdown?
A new hobby that I picked up during lockdown. I have some indoor plants, so I've been understanding how not to kill plants for the first time.
What makes you laugh the most?
What makes me laugh the most? Look, I love a good very dry movie. You know, where people can't understand if it's a joke or not. Things that make you think.
What is your karaoke song?
My karaoke song.
Oh, name one karaoke. I got many. I've got a Filipino background, so that's a big deal for me. But
yeah.
You, do you have one karaoke? What's your go-to karaoke song?
Notorious B.I.G.
Ooh, you can rap, bro?
Well, with Juicy.
Oh, yes, I love that song. What was the last song in your iPhone or Spotify that you listened to?
Let me open it up.
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't listening to a song. I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to Joe Rogan last night.
Nice.
The Undertaker.
Oh, yes. I think I saw that in YouTube. Yeah, that's good. If you do not have fear and money is not an object, what would you do?
Live on a farm. Away from everyone and everything. Just take it easy.
Take it easy.
Or if I was living, you know, somewhere less stressful, probably run a bottle shop. That would do me just fine.
That would do you just fine. Yeah. How many pairs of shoes do you own?
6 or 7.
That's all right. How many pillows do you use when you sleep?
1.
Would you say you're a clean person or a messy person?
I would say I'm clean. Most of the time, I would say I'm clean, yeah.
Yeah. Is your desk neat or does it have everything on it?
It's got everything on it, yeah.
Okay. Is your glass half full or half empty?
Half full.
What was your favorite subject at school?
Wow. Look, when I was at school, I had to go to a different school to do IT. The school that I went to didn't offer it back then. It wasn't that long ago. So IT was definitely my favorite. Yeah.
What was the most unusual thing you've eaten?
Cow's tongue. Quite good.
Who would you want to play you in a movie of your life?
I don't know. I'd go Leo, but I think he's much older. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio? Cool.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me that ages ago. I said Brad Pitt, and goes, Crom, Brad Pitt doesn't look like you at all. I went, but I like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Anyway, Harry, do you have any messages of people that want to start a business? Do you have any message for them that you want them to know when they're starting up?
Create a plan of what you want to achieve, how you want to achieve it, and when you ever feel like you're not doing enough, or you're not putting enough time, effort, energy, or that you're feeling down on yourself, go back to that plan, right? And
That's a good
if
point.
you're hitting your goals on that plan, then don't stress out too much. Just say, are you doing what you need to do? Are you hitting those things? When you start a business, you're going to think, you've got to do all this work. You've got to work 24 hours a day. You will burn out. You will get tired. You won't be as focused. But if you can have that plan, stick to it, not try to own a Lamborghini tomorrow, right? That's not going to happen. It's going to take years and a lot of time, effort, and energy. Just have your little goals, hit those benchmarks, and figure out how you can make sales as quickly as possible. That's the key.
Very good. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Harry James. Harry, where can they find your work?
technicalcontentlinks.com.
Yep.
Or find me on Facebook, add me on LinkedIn. Just find me, have a chat. We'll figure it out.
So guys, if you're trying to grow your agency, call this guy. He can help you out. And on that note as well, thank you very much. Again, this is Crom Salvatera. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. And until next time, have a good day.